What's up, everybody? Welcome to the Pick Six Podcast, CBS Sports NFL Podcast. I'm Will Brinson. I'm your host, John Breach, normally here for this show. Ryan Wilson, normally here for this show. Ryan, as I understand it, is doing something related to the draft show. Breach is face down in a ditch in Jacksonville, Florida, after watching Jake Browning, or possibly in Duval County lockup for stalking Jake Browning. So joining me, Jacksonville's finest, Pete Prisco. What's up, buddy?
You know what? Ryan schedules something during this podcast. That's kind of odd.
Quite odd.
And Breach gets a free pass for getting bombed at the game on Monday night.
Yeah, he goes to a Monday Night Football game in Jacksonville. He's like, can't wake up to do a 2 p.m. podcast.
Yeah, what is that all about?
I know it's going in his permanent file for sure.
He's probably driving home, right? That's what
I hope he's not driving from Jacksonville to Cincinnati. Oh, he lives in Nashville.
Nashville.
That's still
but
a
he
haul,
probably
right?
still didn't drive. It's a hike. Yeah, he probably flew.
Let's see, Nashville. So, doesn't Jacksonville have what's the Southwest flights too?
Yeah.
So it's probably cheap to. Let's see, how long is that drive? That drive is 9 hours and 21 minutes. Not as long as I thought.
I saw he was giving away tickets last night. What was that all about? Did somebody stiff him?
So 16 of his family members were set to go to that game. Only 12 of them ended up going. They sold 2 tickets and then decided to give away 2 extra tickets.
That's nice.
On a Twitter giveaway, yeah.
Yeah.
Presumably.
So somebody had those free tickets and actually had to sit with the entire Breach family.
Sounds like hell on earth, right?
Oh.
Yeah. My brother was actually there with my aunt and uncle at that game.
The ones that hate me in Jacksonville?
Yeah, they hate you.
Yeah.
Well, my uncle's a Florida State fan, so he might like you.
But everybody in last night, I sent out a couple tweets, and Jacksonville got all angry at me.
About what?
Even if Trevor Lawrence comes back, they're not winning this thing with that defense. That defense was awful.
Yeah, defense is pretty bad. Okay. One back in the feed. We got Katie Mox, myself, Emery Hunt, and Prop Stars looking at early odds for Week 14. Check that out, especially with the possibility of lines moving. I want to look real quick and see if this line that I predicted might move has jumped at all or jumped down, slid down at all. Oh, man, it has. Lions-Bears. Lions-Bears over-under was 43. I said to take the under because it's supposed to be 31 mile per hour wind in Chicago on Sunday. And that line is already down to 40.5. So good for me.
What's the weather like supposed to be in I haven't looked in Kansas City this weekend.
Let's see. Kansas.
That's where we're going to be.
You're going to be in Kansas City?
Yeah, we're going to do a remote in Kansas City. Me, BMAC, Danny, and Tommy Tran.
We're doing a Nerds watch party before that game, too.
Wow. All right. So big game. Big game.
Yeah. Sunday, high of 40 degrees.
Cold, too cold.
Wind in the afternoon around 7 miles an hour.
That won't impact the 2 guys throwing the football in that game.
No, certainly won't. No rain, so you're not too bad off. But temperature wise, kickoff probably going to be in the high 30. No, about around 40. Be the hottest part of the day, and then get into the 30s over the course of that. So
that's not that bad. I've been there when it's been 10 below or whatever. So
all right, Chicago weather is now tracking for. It's going to snow, and there's going to be 23 mile per hour wind like the whole day.
If the
that'll impact Jared Goff.
Yeah, but if the winds die down a little bit, then the snow will help the offenses.
That is true. Yeah. So I may come back and take that over and get a nice little window. We'll see. We're going to go through Pete's Week 14 power rankings and blind rank some team mascots. But first,
what do we do with mascots and fight songs?
Just being silly.
Yeah. Because
you want to blind?
I don't give a crap about mascots, and B, I don't give a crap about fight songs.
Yeah, but your disdain for mascots and fight songs is what makes it interesting. Although if Harry wants to slap together like a list of wide receivers, NFL wide receivers, and we can blind rank them at the end of the show, that's fine too. Or running backs.
Yeah, all at 5.
Joe Burrow lists Cincinnati upset a part-time Trevor Lawrence lists Jacksonville Jaguars in Jacksonville at the Battle of the Cats. You're a cat guy, Pete. So let's do power rankings of the best cats. Real cats, fictional cats, house cats, jungle cats, doesn't matter. Who are your top 3 to 5 favorite cats?
Wow.
How about Pete the cat? That's a good one for you.
I don't remember Pete the cat.
Pete the cat's a newer one. It's I love my white shoes. He's a cool, chill cat, bro.
Didn't there used to be an X-rated cat way back in the day? There did. Look it up. I think it was Felix the cat.
He was X-rated?
There was an X-rated. If I remember correctly, there was an X-rated cartoon with a cat. It's demented, but I think it's true. I think
I'm gonna let
Harry might have to look that up, but I think
I'm gonna let Harry look that one up.
No, I'm not even.
Wait, Felix the cat. Oh, the
was a cartoon. Felix the cat.
Yeah, but he's not like X-rated. X is
no,
like
but there wasn't
pornography.
There was an X-rated cat. I'm telling you, Felix the cat was the one that went. Fritz the cat was X-rated.
Do you have he had
there were cartoons. They were X-rated. X-rated cartoons somehow, some way. I have no idea. Felix the cat had the song Felix the cat, the wonderful, wonderful cat. Whenever he gets into a fix, Felix the cat. I'm telling you, that's the song. I remember from when I was a kid.
But I like how you're I don't like to have fun with mascots and team names, and now you're singing
cats. I can do cats.
Yeah. I would say Hobbs.
I could say Montecore, but that would be distasteful.
Who's Montecore?
He was the cat that attacked. That was the name of the cat that went after Siegfried and Roy. Remember?
Yeah. Hobbs. Hobbs is a good one. Calvin and Hobbs. Did you have that?
I actually named my cat Montecore.
No, you did not.
I swear to God, one of them passed away. His name was, he went by Monty. So every time we go to the vet, my wife goes, "Don't, please don't say what the name is. Please don't say what the name is."
You definitely said what the name was, wouldn't you?
Montecore.
Yeah, you named him. That is messed up. The Cat in the Hat. It's a good one.
The Cat in the Hat. The Cat in the
Hat. Garfield.
Yeah.
Garfield's a great one. What are some other? Puss in Boots.
Yeah. That was from the ads, remember?
Yeah. Puss in Boots is old. That's like an old French. Yeah.
Give me some more.
Some more Mr. Bigglesworth from Austin Powers.
Yeah, vaguely.
I mean, he's pretty famous. Who else is a famous cat? Harry, you got any more famous cats? Harry's all over this. I'm more of a dog guy myself. The Cheshire Cat.
But Heathcliff.
Yeah. All right.
What about so I was right. There was an X-rated cat back in the day.
Yep, you're right. Fritz the cat, the porn cat.
When was that? Like in the 70s? It had to be in the 70s. It was probably
it was the 70s.
Old day at the drive-in, you used to try and sneak into the drive-in.
Jesus, this guy is a creep.
What? I was 12.
I mean, I'm looking at this like it was a film. The movie was Fritz the Cat.
Yeah.
And the title is "We're Not X-Rated for Nothing, Baby."
Yeah. And we snuck. I think we were 12 years old and we snuck in the drive-in.
Based on this comic strip by R. Crumb and starring Skip Hennett, the film focuses on Fritz, who's Hennett, a glib, womanizing, and fraudulent cat, and an anthropomorphic animal version of New York City during the mid to late 1960s. Fritz decides on a whim to drop out of college, interacts with. Okay. You know what? Let's move on to the power rankings.
A little bit of history, though. No, you never knew that, right?
Yeah. I didn't know that.
Something every day.
Did not know that. Speaking of dogs, there's George the dog barking in the background. Not sure if you heard him, but
your favorite dog.
What's that?
Your favorite dog.
My favorite dog, George the dog, the wonky-eyed prince of Shadowbrook Drive. We're on to Cincinnati, or at least the Bengals. They won on Monday night. They just moved up one spot to 20th. They're now 6-6. Jake Browning's first win in his career as an NFL starter. Also, I think he's the only quarterback in NFL history to complete 85% of his passes and throw for like 350 yards or more. Pretty insane. What was that? Where did that come from?
And rush for a touchdown. I think that's the other.
Yeah, and rush for a touchdown. Maybe that's what it is.
Yeah, because I think the other guy, Brady, and the guys have done that before. But I don't. That was a great game plan by, other than 2 plays, the stupid reverses he called. Zach Taylor called a great game.
Yeah.
He had Jacksonville's defense is a problem, but he had them off balance the entire game. It was a great game plan. They ran the ball too. They had run the ball all year.
Joe
They were
Mixon
able
looked
to
good.
run the ball, and so did Chase Brown. He ran the ball well. I mean, and they took the pressure off Browning, and Browning played well. You have to give it to him. And here they are at 6-6. They have the Colts this week, right? They get the Colts this week.
They do get the Colts this week. They have
in
the Colts.
Cincinnati.
They have the Colts in Cincinnati, and then the Vikings in Cincinnati, at the Steelers, at the Chiefs, and the Browns at home.
They could win 4 or 5 and sneak in.
All right, let's say they lose to the Chiefs, right?
Right, and that's it.
And win the other 4.
They're in.
Or
going to be
80% chance to make it in. They would obviously need like the Jaguars. They need the Jaguars to beat the Browns. They need the Steelers and the Browns to lose a bunch of games, I think.
Yeah.
And the Broncos. So like the upshot, New York Times does a good job of like sort of highlighting which games are really important for them. They need the Broncos to lose. Yeah, I mean, a couple losses from the Broncos, like at the Lions, the Texans
they'll beat the Colts in that scenario, so that gives the Colts a loss already.
Yeah.
Texans and Colts play each other. See, I'm assuming the Texans are going to get in.
Yeah, probably. I mean, the 2 big games for them are at the Steelers and the Browns at home, I think.
Right.
Actually, it looks like if the Bengals lose 2 more games, they're toast.
Correct.
3-2 is not going to cut it to get in the playoffs.
4-1 will get them in, though.
4-1 could get them in. I mean, what is Cincinnati with Jake Browning? I mean, because they're
not very good. By the way, their defense isn't very good either.
No, it's not very good at all. But he's like, is that something that's like viable for the Bengals moving forward to play like that, or is that just the Colts and Vikings, Steelers, Chiefs, Browns? Those are much better defenses.
Yeah, they gotta play that way. I mean, I don't think their defense is very good.
No, they're just gonna have to score 30 points a game with Jake Browning, basically.
Yeah, and I don't know if they can. Well, the wide receivers can make plays, though. I mean, those guys are more than capable of taking a 10-yard pass and turning it into 60.
Yeah, I mean, Jamar Chase looked awesome. He had that one drop where he was turning. He caught it, was like, I need to go score here, and tried to like turn up field and get into the end zone. But other than that, I mean, he was just a focus drop. Other than that, he was awesome.
Every time Jacksonville blitzed from one side, they'd run the screen back on the other side. And
it
was a great game plan by Zach Taylor. Here's the other thing about I know we're talking about the Bengals, but I want to focus on Jacksonville a little bit.
I was going to say, let's move to Jacksonville.
Their defense has a high number 1 overall pick on Trayvon Walker. Do you remember him making an impact play on?
No, we were texting about this last night.
Yeah. Okay. Devin Lloyd, who was a first-round pick, they traded back in to go get, was awful on Monday night. And he's actually had a good season, but he was awful. He looked slow of foot. Tyson Campbell was a 2nd-round pick, and he didn't play. He was awful coming back off injury. They just didn't look very good. And, Devon Hamilton hurt his back in the beginning of the season. They never said how he did it, but he hurt his back and we missed like 7 weeks. He's a power player. He comes back. You look at him. He probably wasn't able to lift. He looks like he weighs 275 pounds now. He got pushed all around. So it's not a good look for their defense. And now with Trevor Lawrence hurt, I mean, my gosh, CJ Beathard isn't very good.
No, he played all right last night considering the spot, but it's also easier I think for these backups to come in and play. You just have to come in and play like without having to think about it. You have a whole week to think about it if you're CJ Beathard. By the way, the Jaguars playoff odds are still 96%, but their odds to win the division all the way down to 75% now.
But they have the tiebreakers over the Colts and the Texans.
Yeah, they don't have a quarterback.
No. Here's the other thing about, when Kirk went out, you go back to the play that Trevor Lawrence got injured on. Mm-hmm. Trevor Lawrence, you remember he double clutched the ball because the rookie receiver wasn't looking. He didn't get into his route. He was ready to throw there, and that's why he double clutched it, and then so it's like one thing led to another. It was anything and everything that could possibly go wrong for that team went wrong. They thought they were going to leave the night with the number 1 overall seed, control their own destiny. The defense, which had taken the ball away and got a bunch of sacks and looked good, looked awful. And then you lose your quarterback and your wide receiver on the very first series. And so here's the other thing. The center can't block. He plays way too high. He's 6'5". They need to make a change there and get no push. You saw all those short yardage situations. They got nothing. And ETN's hurt. They won't say. I mean, they hint at it. He hasn't run the same in the last 4 or 5 weeks. He's hurt.
Who is ETN?
Yes.
Yeah. I thought he looked good on a couple.
Did you watch him run though? He's like there's something going on in his rib.
He ran out of bounds quick instead of fighting for extra yards a couple times.
Yeah.
What do you think? So, what do you think the Trevor Lawrence injury? What are we looking at here? Because I mean, I think Doug Peterson said high right ankle sprain or right high ankle sprain.
Yeah,
it's kind of weird verbiage.
Well,
look at this list of starting quarterbacks who are hurt, with 5 of them out for the season, and Aaron Rodgers basically out for the season. Kenny Pickett basically out for the season.
Trevor Lawrence will be back. I think Trevor Lawrence can be back for the postseason. But here's the problem for Jacksonville. If the schedule was flipped, they played the last 3 games the next 2 weeks, in the last 2 weeks, they'd have a chance to still get there with him not playing. Look at that schedule. They play Cleveland on the road and Baltimore at home, and then they get Tampa, Carolina, and Tennessee, all winnable. So even without him. So those are the schedule doesn't help them any, but they can still win at Cleveland this week. It's not like Cleveland's the end all be all on offense.
No. All right. Let's move on. Thrilling Monday Night Football game. It was actually really it was a really good football game. Yeah, it's just it's just it's a dagger with the 2 teams.
Did you think it was a hold? I thought it was a hold.
Which was a hold?
Anton Harrison, when the big play got wiped out.
Oh yeah, it was a hold. Yeah. Well, it was one of those 2 where it's like he locked on him and then had to release him as well.
And Hubbard did a great job of throwing his hands in the air to make it look like he was getting held too.
Yeah, that's what you always got to do if you're one of those guys. All right, the Green Bay Packers, your biggest riser, 6 spots up from 19 to 13. Jordan Love has looked awesome the last 3 weeks.
And I wrote about this at the top. When I went there in the summer, you know how I felt about that team. And I wasn't sure about him coming out. But after watching him and talking to him and talking to his teammates about him, during that practice, Jordan Love turned his back on a play-action fake and threw a shot in the middle of the field that he never saw the linebacker that was picked off. And Jair Alexander screamed some of the nastiest stuff ever at him. Like basically tell him, get your head out of here where the sun doesn't shine, in not so nice terms. And I asked Alexander about it afterwards. And he said, look, we love him. We just got to stay on him because we know how good he can be. And then I asked Christian Watson about him. And then I asked Jordan Love about himself. And I left there thinking, this kid has it. He has it. And so when he started slowly, I'm like, well, maybe I was wrong. Maybe he doesn't have it. Maybe I just got caught up in the moment. But you know what? What he didn't have early in the season was the whole offensive group together. And he still does it because he doesn't have Aaron Jones. But they had problems on the offensive line. They had receivers going in and out. They were all young receivers. You couldn't get any continuity with them. Well, now everybody's growing together. Those young guys are all coming around together to understand him. And he's playing with so much more confidence now. You can see it. And that team is dangerous. And they will be a playoff team, by the way. They will be a playoff team.
I think so, too.
Schedule is a joke.
When you look at – what's that?
Their schedule's a joke.
Yeah.
I think the combined records is 20 and 40 of the teams they play that's left.
It's crazy, though. They were sitting at like a they had a top 5 pick 3 weeks ago. And now they're the 6th seed in the NFC, 71% chance to make the playoffs. If they're at the Giants, if they win that and then they're at the Giants, the Buccaneers at home, at the Panthers, at the Vikings, and the Bears at home. That is as easy as it gets.
It's amazing. I mean, if they don't make the playoffs, it will be surprising. Let's put it that way.
If they
and they still haven't had anybody on defense. Alexander's not back.
I mean, they could lose the last 2 games of the season and still have a decent chance to make the playoffs. Like it's crazy. Like they go 3-2 and probably make the playoffs.
And by the way, they're really good in December under Matt LaFleur, undefeated, right?
They're undefeated, yeah. If they go 4-1, it's a stone cold lock that they make the playoffs. 93% chances, a wild card. Only 7% chance that they would actually.
So it's the Giant. They have the Giants, Carolina. Who else do they have? They have Minnesota, right? Minnesota, Giants, Carolina. Read the schedule to me.
They are at Giants, Buccaneers at home, at Panthers, at Vikings, Bears.
They should win 4 of those games. They should.
Yeah.
I mean,
unless Jordan Love just falls apart.
You're playing the Panthers, who stink. They're terrible. You're playing a backup quarterback, maybe the third team quarterback with the Vikings, and you have a Bears team that's playing for nothing last week of the season. And then you got Tommy DeVito, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's as easy as it gets.
Yeah.
Is Jordan Love the franchise quarterback for the Packers?
Looking like it.
Yeah. I mean,
looking like it.
Like, don't you think at this point that it looks like they made the right move?
Youngest team in the league, too.
Yeah, those wide receivers. Watson,
he's got a
hamstring injury is concerning. Like, Love's play has coincided with Watson kind of putting it together and playing well.
True. That's concerning, but they also haven't had the Musgrave, the tight end.
Yep.
But the other Kraft is starting to play well, the other rookie. Then you look at those other wide receivers. Wicks is playing well. I mean, Dobbs is good.
And who's the rookie from Ole Miss?
Malik Heath.
Yeah, Malik Heath. Yeah. I mean, that's where you kind of want to be. I think it's like by the way, it was like, is everybody going to get 5? The NFL is so insane. It goes from like, is everybody going to get canned? Is Jordan Love like going to be let go? Are the Packers going to have to draft a quarterback with their top 5 pick? 3 weeks later, it's like, well, they've got the youngest wide receiver core in the league. They've got this possible franchise quarterback, and they might be like in a wild card spot as a really dangerous team. Like, I wouldn't want to play Green Bay in a wild card game.
No. And it's just every week it's the same, though. Miami can't score on the road. They can't beat any good teams, and then they go explode against Commanders, who aren't a good team, but Dallas's defense looked like crap against Seattle. The Eagles can't stop anybody all of a sudden. I mean, it just changes. The narrative change. Josh Allen can't play early in the season, remember? Now he's an MVP candidate carrying a team, and maybe he can take him to the playoffs. There's so many things. Brock Purdy can't come up in big games. So many narratives get flipped and switched from week to week in the NFL. It's just the way it is.
Aaron Rodgers pointed that out earlier this year, too. He's like, Somebody, he was asked. I remember he was asked on the McAfee show, like, what do you think about Jordan Love? He's not playing well. He's like, week to week, the Vikings were dead in the water 3 weeks ago, and now, it's crazy. It flips so freaking fast. All right, biggest faller, Pittsburgh Steelers, 9 spots all the way down from number 9 to number 18. Wilson would surely have some stuff to say here. He actually was like, it's not a Matt Canada thing, it's a Kenny Pickett thing last week. What's going on? I mean,
he's hard on Kenny Pickett because he didn't like him coming out. So he's going to be. So you know how Ryan is. If Ryan likes a guy, he's going to find everything to make him look better. And if he doesn't like a guy, he's going to find everything to rip him.
Yeah, that's how it.
They didn't play well last week.
No,
the whole team. It was a bad team effort. They were flat. And then the rain didn't help them, all the lightning and everything. It was not a good situation. But Ryan will defend Bryce Young to no end and rip Kenny Pickett. Now, come on. Something ain't right there.
Or Mac Jones.
There's no defending that.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I don't think it's Kenny Pickett. I just think they didn't play very well. So basically, he doesn't think there's any difference with Trubisky.
It's probably about right.
Yeah, Pickett's better than Trubisky.
Yeah, they're both kind of
He's better than Trubisky.
Okay. Does Steelers make the playoffs?
No.
It's week to week, man. The Steelers were like, the Steelers were in a good spot.
I don't think they do.
They're down to 52% to make the playoffs. Browns at 59%. What's fascinating is the Texans are at 80%. The Colts are at 65%.
Well, the Colts-Bengals game is almost like a mini playoff game this week.
Yeah, it is. It is.
When you think about
Broncos-Texans was a mini playoff game.
when you think about what Shane Steichen's done with that team, though, he's done an amazing job because they don't have a lot of talent. They really don't. And I'm going to give Minshew credit. I don't think Minshew's good, but he's played well.
All right. Let's take a break. When we come back, we're not going to discuss this Thursday night game. The number one team in your power rankings. We'll discuss that next.
A game of honor. The Army-Navy game presented by USAA. Saturday on CBS and streaming on Paramount Plus.
All right. Welcome back to the Pick Six Podcast. Pete Prisco, Will Brinson here. He doesn't have the same, doesn't have the same juice without Wilson. Did I just say Will Brinson? Did I call myself Wilson?
Wilson Brinson.
Did I just call myself Wilson Brinson?
Is that your real name?
No, I don't have a Wilson.
Is Robert.
Woo! That's right. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, Salvatore. Number one team in your power ranks, 49ers. What did you think about what was your vote for the four teams who would be in the college football playoff?
I didn't want to do it because I think it was a stupid exercise.
What did you think about the college football playoff, by the way?
Horrible.
It's a joke. If Florida State went undefeated, won the conference, and Alabama gets in over them, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and not only that, Texas was ahead of them too. If you look at it, nobody says anything about that. Texas was ahead of Florida State too.
Yeah.
I mean, they didn't win they won their conference and had a loss too. They lost to Oklahoma.
They lost to Oklahoma in the regular season.
The outcry, and everybody was screaming about Alabama, because they assumed that Texas was ahead of Alabama because Texas beat Alabama. But Texas was also going to be ahead of Florida State if Florida State was the 4 seed. And they were undefeated. That's not the way it should have been. So, look, we understand. Florida State, as constructed, is not a good team with the backup quarterback. But they would have had their quarterback back, though. The second-string quarterback would have been back, and he's much better than that third-team quarterback. So they were capable on offense with the second-string quarterback. Look, it's why the National Football League is king. And it's not close, okay? They play the games on the field. And everybody says, well, you have a 7-9 team win a division to get it. They've earned the right to get in. Nobody voted them in. Nobody will vote them out. They can lose and get out, but nobody takes that away from them. And so that's what's wrong with college football. I hated it. I think Florida State should have been in.
Florida State deserves a chance to try to pull off 2 miracle wins. They're probably not winning. But, who cares?
But don't worry, though, Will. They get to go down and play in the Orange Bowl against Georgia. They get to play an exhibition game. Those bowl games are all exhibition games. That's all they are.
Yeah.
And if I'm a guy going to the NFL, I ain't playing.
I see Georgia's like a 14-point favorite over Florida State, and I get it because of the quarterback situation. But Florida State will have their second-string guy back from concussion. And Georgia has a ton of NFL guys every year. No reason any of those dudes should play in the Orange Bowl. They got screwed, too. They've lost 2 games in the last 4 years, right? Both to Alabama.
Yeah, but you couldn't put them in ahead of Alabama after they beat them.
Yeah, I guess not. I mean, Bama almost lost to Auburn.
4th and 31.
Yeah,
right.
That's a miracle.
Well, and Oklahoma, who stinks, beat Texas. Didn't South Alabama beat Oklahoma? Am I wrong about that?
Wait, who beat Alabama?
Who did South Alabama beat somebody? Thrashed them.
South Alabama?
Yeah, I think so. If I'm not mistaken.
Are you doing like the transitive?
Yeah, I'm doing team, because you bring up that 4th and 31. Oh, that team, Auburn lost to New Mexico State at home, by the way.
Yeah.
Put that one out there.
South Alabama thrashed Oklahoma State.
Oklahoma State, who, by the way, they're propping up as a good win for Texas.
Right, exactly. That's the whole thing. It's like Oklahoma State finishes ranked, and all of a sudden it's a good win for them.
Louisville had the least amount of yards they've had under Jeff Brom, and
Florida State's defense is awesome, right? Florida State allowed negative 26 yards in the final 2 fourth quarters of the games they played, like against Florida and Louisville, like 2 Power 5 teams. I don't know. The whole thing, I agree with you. Look, the divisions are what they are. You know what games you have to win to get in. There's no, the ACC sucks. Sorry, you don't get a seat at the table, in the NFL. It's like, sure, the NFC South sucks, but sometimes the AFC East
It's
down.
cyclical. But,
Yeah.
but by the way, did the ACC have a winning record out of the conference against the SEC this year? And I think the SEC was 7-9 against the Power Five out of the conference. So the whole argument that the SEC was the power conference didn't really go there this year. You know, people say, "Oh, Mississippi wasn't any good," and they're like 11th, aren't they?
Yeah. Mississippi lost. Mississippi was the best win for both Georgia and Alabama.
Yeah.
And they're 11th. Yeah.
Yeah.
I actually put the Chiefs in as the 4th team in my playoff picks.
I just put the top 4 teams and said, put them in.
Both San Francisco, Philadelphia, Baltimore,
Dallas.
I put the Chiefs just because I think it's like I was going with the who would the other 3 teams not want in the bracket? And the
you would not. I'll tell you what, it's like in the playoffs, a team that nobody wants in the postseason is Buffalo.
Yeah, sure.
This is a big week for Buffalo, by the way.
Big week for Buffalo. Where'd Buffalo rank in your power rankings?
10.
Seems high.
I think they're better than the Colts. I think they're better than Cleveland. I think they're better than Pittsburgh.
Were they 6-6? 6-6. Moving up 10 spots. Oh, yeah, they came off the bye. That's right.
They should have beat the
they should be 7-5. Should have beaten the Eagles. Yeah, they should be 7-5. Should have sleepwalked through the Jaguars game. A lot of different stuff for the Bills. It's a team that, man, it's just a team that is not very well. Let's just talk about the Bills. 6-6 teams, log jammed. 20th and 10. There are the Bengals, the Broncos, the Falcons, the Seahawks, the Rams, the Packers, the Vikings, the Bills. We already mentioned the Packers. The Falcons look like the best team in the. Well, let's. What do you think happens with the Falcons? Wild card, division winner?
No, they win the division.
I think so too.
Yeah,
they're the best team in the division,
and they're not good.
No,
they're going to win the division.
No. I mean, their schedule is cake.
The rest of the way.
Right? I mean, their schedule the whole year is cake. The only 2 hard games they had were they have the Buccaneers at the Panthers, the Colts at the Bears, at the Saints.
Read it to me again.
Buccaneers at home,
right?
At the Panthers, Colts at home, at the Bears, at the Saints.
Yeah, it's not hard.
Like if they win
3, they're in.
3 of those games, yeah. 3 of those games, a 99% chance to host the wild card game and win the division. So,
and by the way, if you're the NFC and you're a wild card team, you'd much rather be the 5 than you'd rather be the 5. Right? You don't want to
be the 6.
No, but your 5 is awesome. You can go play.
Oh, you'd rather be the 5 than like the 2 or the 5 than the 3.
Maybe.
Yeah, because you're going on the road and playing the NFC South.
Right.
Yeah.
If you're the 2, you play 7.
No. 2 and so it changes now because it's 2 gets 6.
No, 2
gets 7.
7.
6 gets 3.
4, 5.
Yeah. You want to be the 5 seed.
Yeah.
Big time. Like big time.
5 better than 3?
Yes.
Okay, if you're the 3 seed, let's see right now how it would be. You'd be the 3 seed. If you're right now, it would be either Detroit or San Francisco, right?
So right now, the 3rd seed in the NFC is Detroit. So Detroit would go to Minnesota.
No, they would be home. Minnesota.
They would host Minnesota. Yeah, excuse me. Host Minnesota. Dallas would go to Atlanta.
And Green
Bay would be at San Francisco.
They would get whacked in that game, I think.
Yes, Kyle Shanahan destroys old.
But it would actually end up probably be Green Bay at
Philly.
Right.
But I'm just saying, as of right now, it'd be Green Bay at San Francisco. So what you would then potentially have is I think Dallas probably wins it. The problem would be the reason you don't want to be the 5 in this scenario, though, is if
next week.
Well, but if 6 and 7 lose, you're going to play either Philly or San Francisco on the road. Whoever had the bye.
Right, and you're also automatically on the road the next week.
Yeah, exactly. You'd rather be 3 and have a chance to be hosting if the 6 seed.
Well, you're not automatically on the road because if let's say 5, 6, and 7 won, 7 would go play 1, 6 would right 6. How would that work out? That would be 1 would play 7, and 6 would play 5 at 5. You could be home. Right? If 5, 6, and 7 all won,
5 would be at home.
Right.
Because you would, yeah. 5 would host 6, and 7 would go to 1.
Go to 1. Right.
But the problem is you're talking about like Green Bay beating San Francisco or beating Philly on the road, which is unlikely, but not impossible.
No.
Yeah.
I doubt they would beat the 49ers, but they could beat the Eagles. The Eagles can't stop it. The Eagles got defensive problems, by the way.
Sure. I still think you'd rather be the 3, but if you're the 5, you were on the road and like getting a you still
rather be at home.
Yeah, for sure. You'd rather be at home with the playoff game. But I mean, if the 5 seed is a good look to go on the road and beat a bad team, whoever comes out of that division.
Of all the playoff scenario spots all the spots in both leagues, both conferences, you'd rather be the 5 in the NFC than the 5, 6, 7 in either conference.
The 5 in the NFC is going to be the biggest favorite in the first weekend of the playoffs, probably. Even on the road. Unless it's like Philly hosting Minnesota or something.
Yeah, no, I don't think that's the case.
Okay. I mean, the Cowboys at like Atlanta, Cowboys are going to be like -7 or -8.
Well, the Cowboys are going to beat the Eagles this week. Yeah.
The Eagles might be the 5 seed.
The Eagles might be the team you want to play. You think I'm crazy. Their defense can't cover anybody. And I know they got Leonard. He changes his name every Wednesday.
Shaq Leonard, yeah.
Yeah. They got Leonard, and he's a decent coverage linebacker because their linebackers were terrible the other day. Terrible.
The linebackers have always been bad.
And Slay has not played very well, and they miss Avonte Maddox in the worst way. They can't cover anybody.
How about the Rams? 6-6, 48% chance to make the playoffs. They a wild card team or no?
No, I think Green Bay is going to be the wild card team. But I love what he's done, though. I mean,
McVay.
Watch out for that team in the coming years. Their young defensive players are growing up and getting better by the week. Here's the other thing: the offensive line. You looked at it before the season. You go, I don't know about this group. Avila's played well at left guard. Lark Jackson's played well at left tackle. The right side's been good. And the center's played well. The line has played well, and that's I think one of the surprising parts of it.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I still think so. The Rams are at 47% to make the playoffs.
Seattle's in trouble.
Seattle's in big trouble. Seattle's at 24% to make the playoffs right now.
Well, they have San Francisco this week on the road, and then the Eagles at home.
So the predicted playoff teams in the NFC are it's basically Eagles, Cowboys obviously getting in. Lions are going to get in. Packers look like a pretty good bet to get in. One of those NFC South teams is going to win the division. That's going to be it, not the Panthers, obviously. And then it basically comes down to Vikings,
Seahawks,
Rams, and Seahawks. And the Rams have the highest percentage chance.
And Packers.
Well, I was already putting the Packers in as the 6th seed.
Oh, yeah.
They're
so
at like 70%.
Rams, Seahawks, and Vikings playing for the last spot.
Yeah. Vikings or Packers? You got the Vikings at 12 right now. That's just, I mean, do you think the Vikings are better than the Packers?
Well, they beat them.
Yeah, I mean, that's the only reason why, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it would be a good game if they played right now. They're pretty good on defense. They throw a lot of looks at people.
That game that's a Week 17 game. That game matters a lot for the playoffs.
Yep.
Looks like it's like a 30+% swing in terms of who's going to get in. So you could easily, I think the Rams and the Packers would be my picks right now.
I mean, what's the Rams schedule? Read it to me.
The Rams have at the Ravens this week. Huge dogs, drops them. I mean, if they won that game, they would be in real good shape. Let's assume they lose. Commanders at home, Saints at home, at the Giants, and at the 49ers.
That's a loss. So they'll lose 2.
But
the 49ers might not need the game.
You need the 49ers to have the number 1 seed clinched.
Right. If they do, and they go 4-1, they're in.
Correct. If they go 3-1 over the next 4 games, they're at 72% to make the playoffs. Lose at 65, win it's like 98%. So yeah, they need and who knows if the 49ers will help them out though. Kyle Shanahan might not be eager to let a division rival into the playoffs.
Right.
But if he's the 1 seed.
But still, if you're smart, you're the 1 seed, you rest your guys.
Exactly. Okay. Next up. We mentioned the Packers. Talk the Vikings, talk the Bills. Teams at the bottom of your power. Would you think the Bills make the playoffs?
I do.
You do?
I think they have a chance to win this week, but also their schedule, they might be playing a Miami team at the end of the year that doesn't need a game. They might be the same scenario.
You have to go 1-1 in the next 2 weeks.
They could beat Dallas at home.
Yeah.
And then they have 2 softies before Miami, right?
at the Chargers and the Patriots. I mean, they could rip off. They could close. I mean, that's the thing is they could close 5-0.
Nobody will want to play them,
and nobody will want to play them because they would be the 5 seed or the 6 seed maybe.
Nobody will want to play them.
Nobody would want to play a Bills team that wins 5 games in a row. And coming off the bye, I think we could see an inspired effort from them against the Chiefs.
Yeah, that's going to end up being a fun game.
Yeah. Oh yeah, great game. You'll be there.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I'm looking forward to it.
I'll tell you what. Let's skip these bottom tier teams. Let's take a break, and when we come back, Pete can rank some NFL mascots blindly. Next.
We're back for an all-new season of Ink Master.
This is wild.
And 3-time Ink Master winner DJ Tamby returns as a judge.
Guaranteed there's going to be some shots fired.
Y'all gotta watch your back.
You're gonna get it because you talk a lot, bro.
This tattoo is badass.
That is insanity.
This piece is super dynamic. You better strap in and be ready for the ride.
Victory is a work of art. Ink Master, new season, now streaming exclusively on Paramount Plus.
All right. Nothing better than silly rankings with Pete Prisco.
You love these.
I love them. I think they're entertaining. And you'll you know what? You better love them because I skipped a bunch of power rankings content to get to this so we can get you out of here in 45 minutes.
Well, you better go in 2 minutes because right now it's 2:43.
Unbelievable. We've been recording for 41 minutes. I can see the clock. So this is a blind blind power rankings. How this works. You know, we make it up live on air. Pete doesn't know what 5 things I'm going to give him or in what order. We know you love cute, cuddly animals and silly antics. You've already talked about pornographic cats. So why not talk about some NFL mascots? We're going to leave out Gritty as even though he's the benevolent anarchist of the NHL mascots. Only football here. So you get to put these. You know how it works, right? You put 1 at 2. 2's go. You can't use 2 again. You can't move them around.
I know how it works.
We're going to start. Steelers mascot, Steely McBeam.
4.
Steely McBeam.
Don't love it.
I think it's a little too on brand for them.
Yeah, don't love it.
Yeah, I'd like. I don't know. He's like a tough steel worker. I get it, but it's like doesn't really.
No, I like something better.
Yeah, they're always a little creepy. All right, one close to your heart. A cat. Cat you've probably actually like talked with. You may have interviewed him. Jackson DeVille.
It's a new guy.
Jackson DeVille.
The original is no longer.
Who was the original?
Curtis Dvorak. Actually, a scratch golfer, Curtis Dvorak. Really good golfer.
You're saying there's a new person in the mascot thing?
Yeah.
Oh, you knew who the mascot was?
Yeah, he was a full-time staffer.
Curtis Dvorak, scratch golfer. Really?
Yeah.
All right, what do you rank Jackson DeVille? I like Jackson DeVille. Jackson DeVille comes flying in on zip lines.
And that's what Curtis used to do too. They're crazy. He's 3.
Below Steely? Oh no, Steely McBeam's 4. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Interesting. So cat theme, we'll keep it up. Sir Purr for the Panthers.
5.
Oh boy, you've made a mistake here, I think.
No.
Okay. You don't like Sir Purr?
You're gonna have one that's an obvious one, I think.
I don't know. I didn't make these up. I have no idea.
Okay.
I don't
Going.
think you're good. Are you hoping for like Big Blue Stampede or Big Blue or whatever, the Big Blue Shoe or whatever his name is?
Keep going.
Okay. Major Tuddy, the Commanders mascot.
I don't even know what that is.
I don't either. He's either 1 or 2 for you.
Okay, put him at 2 then.
Oh my God. Major Tuddy is a pig in a army helmet.
Oh, okay. I know what that is now. Yeah, that's better than the Panthers mascot.
The Panthers mascot is just a Jaguars mascot, but he's a black cat instead of
yeah, but the Jaguars mascot does crazy stuff. That earned him that spot.
Sir Purr hammers a drum or something.
Yeah.
Finally, Poe, the Ravens mascot.
I don't even know what that looks like. Is it just a raven? Where's the Buccaneers mascot?
Poe should have been 5. Yeah. When originally unveiled, Poe was one of 3 costume mascots, all Raven brothers named Edgar, Allan, and Poe.
Yeah, that's cheesy. Okay, was it Buccaneer Bruce or what was his name? The Bucs mascot?
Let's see. Bucs mascot. Bucko Bruce. Oh, yeah. The Chiefs mascot. I like the Chiefs mascot.
Yeah, Chiefs mascot.
Hammers his head against a field goal whenever they kick. Yeah.
Chiefs. But okay, what are some
Captain
of the other
Fear? Captain Fear is the name of the Buccaneers mascot.
What are some of the other mascots? I don't even know.
The Broncos mascot's pretty good. The Eagles. Pat Patriot, Sam Patriot, TD the Dolphin.
Yeah, that's in the Dolphin suit.
I mean, they're just all the Seahawk bird is pretty good, I guess.
Swoop the Eagle.
There's that little elf brown and the dog for the Browns.
Do the Giants even have a man? I don't think they do.
That's a good question.
I don't think they do.
The Giants mascot is that's the San Francisco Giants. Lou the Seal, Brownie the Elf. Yep. The Giants have 4 teams. The Chargers, Packers, Giants, and Jets do not have mascots.
Then they all are in the number 1 through 4 spot. I knew I grew up a Giant. I knew I grew up a Giant fan for a reason.
That's fantastic. All right. That'll do it for us. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening, Pete. Watch Pete on CBS Sports HQ. Of course, he'll be back next week. And check him out. We'll have a Nerds watch party before the game kicks off. And, of course, Pete will be in Kansas City for the Bills and the Chiefs.
Yeah, we'll be doing hits on the morning show. And then we'll have our pregame show leading into the game
Love
on
it.
HQ. Yep.
Tons of content. Thanks, buddy. See you, man.
You got it.